Today is the 8th-month anniversary of my son's death. It's a little memorial corner that I'm putting together. It's not finished, it's unfinished. On the side, I have his medication that he was taking. I have his toothbrush, his cell phone.
Her son's name was Eric Garner. He died. He was strangled by a policeman. The scene was filmed and has been seen around the world.
I started just crying and crying all over again when I saw those pictures. Till now, I cannot look at that full video. I just said, oh my God, what did they do to my child?
Staten Island, New York. Eric Garner is on the right. 2 policemen suspect him of selling cigarettes on the street.
I'm minding my business, officer.
The policemen want to arrest him, but the situation gets quickly out of
I
hand.
told you the last time, please leave me alone.
One of them literally throws himself at Eric to handcuff him by force. Another one strangles him for nearly 20 seconds.
Put your hand behind your back. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. Eric Garner will desperately repeat that 11 times before dying.
It was just total brutality what they did to him. For no reason, they said for selling a Lucy, is the sentence death for selling a Lucy? It's like they have a license to kill.
Strangulation is prohibited by the New York police, yet the policeman was not indicted. This incident shocked viewers across the world, all the more so as these cases of brutality and excesses by the police happen every week in the United States. Last November in Cleveland,
there's a black male sitting on the swings.
Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old child, is playing with a plastic gun when a police car racing by stops abruptly and the officer almost instantly shoots the child.
Radio, shots fired, male down, black male, maybe 20.
Beginning of April in Oklahoma, Eric Harris is chased by policemen. After they tackle him to the ground, they fire a bullet into his back. The agent said he confused his weapon with his taser. The man is dying, but the policeman doesn't seem bothered. 2 days later in Charleston, South Carolina, Walter Scott is stopped for a broken taillight. He runs away. Eight bullets in the back. Once again, the victim is not armed. Once again, a white policeman shot a black man. Most crimes in the United States are committed by white people, yet black people have a much greater risk of being killed by the police.
In the city of St. Louis, for example, you have a higher chance as a young black man of being killed by police than being killed in a car accident.
In 2014, American police killed 100 unarmed blacks. That's 2 per week, a statistic that Americans suddenly came to realize.
Today was supposed to be Michael Brown's first day of college, but over the weekend he was shot and killed by a police officer. He was unarmed.
August 2014, 1 death too many. The death of young student Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, sparks the outrage of the black community, which cries out in anger for days. 8 months later, the cameras turn to protests in Baltimore, where once again, an African American dies at the hands of the police. Following these events, America awakes and citizens take to the streets. They scream out against injustice and want to put an end to impunity for the offending policemen. They cry foul over the sad reality of America today. A country where police, trained in the cult of violence, kill unarmed black citizens every week.
Hands down on the floor. Down on the floor. Step back. Step towards me.
Black men have been shot as if they're animals, and it's open season.
People who walk on the streets of the United States are at risk from the very people who are supposed to protect them.
Our job every day is to go home to our families unhurt and alive. And in order to do that, sometimes you might have to hurt someone else.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 400 miles west of New York. A city of 300,000 inhabitants with a long history of police violence. We asked officers if we could join them on patrol. And we understood that a police stop can quickly get out of hand. Officers Lance and Lou start their shift. In an unmarked car, they patrol east of the city in Zone 5. This is the district with the highest rate of police brutality in Pittsburgh. It is a black neighborhood. A high-crime area, the officers are tense.
Did he take his hand off there when we rolled by?
He was definitely gripping his pocket, but I think he was just holding his pants up.
The police are looking for weapons, and they scrutinize every move of passers-by. They do not hesitate to check their pockets and waistbands. Here, everyone is under suspicion. A few minutes later, we follow another police car that is about to stop a red vehicle for speeding.
They just pulled over. It's like a red Chevy Cavalier, tinted windows.
That one looked pretty good.
A passenger comes out. When the policemen turn on their siren,
Just messing with us.
another passenger flees. Before we had time to get out and film, the policeman hidden by the gray car has already taken out his weapon. The red vehicle takes off. The chase begins.
1622, stay on the air, 315.
He comes to fence behind Simmy's restaurant.
Simmy's restaurant. 533 is going to get out with him.
We're going to come in. Give me one, come here. Just so you know. Hey, I'm gonna ride along. They're in my car. Secure this. This is the bad guy's car. Film crew's in there.
After a minute-long chase,
Hey, the other one's running in the woods. Outbound.
the vehicle is found empty. The passengers have all vanished.
He scaled the fence. I got a real good look. He had no gun on, and then he just tore himself up.
No weapon has been found. No officer has been threatened, yet all of them pulled out their firearms.
Go after them. I'm gonna get in the car and get them. We went around one corner and I didn't see him go around the corner. I didn't see him keep running straight. So at that point, I don't know if he's waiting around the corner with a gun or not. So that's...
So you have to...
You pretty much just assume he's waiting around the corner with a gun, yeah.
You never know. Better safe than sorry. I don't know that someone else isn't going to pull a gun out. So, yeah, unfortunately around here we end up pulling our guns a lot.
How do you say better safe?
Better safe than sorry.
The chase ended with no one injured, but this is not always the case. None of the suspects were armed, but the police chased them with guns out. Apparently, the American police can draw their guns almost at will. But what are the rules they are taught to follow? In the U.S., every state and almost every city has its police academy. The one in Pittsburgh is just next to the police station. Generally, the teachers are former policemen. In France, the training lasts 1 year, but the average in the U.S. is only 6 months.
Take seats. Knowledge, courage, integrity.
This morning, the trainees are reviewing the highway code.
Okay, if a driver is found to be driving with a driver's license expired within 60 days of the date of the expiration, what's his fine? 60 days, his driver's license has been expired. What's the fine?
In this classroom, they will learn the rules of law, ethics, and crisis management.
15.
But that is only a small part of the program. The most important is this. In these images, filmed by the police themselves, we see the training ground. The loud music is used by trainers to raise the stress to the maximum. Hidden behind blue tarps, they prepare future policemen for the worst. This student is confronted with an armed man who is shooting someone. Under stress, the police trainee points his gun at the victim before changing his mind.
Go, get out, get mad, get mad, get mad. Let's go! Get your ass moving!
In this other video, students are taught how to react in extremely violent situations.
I want you to go in there. I'll say, yeah, come on, let's go! Because that's going to bring out the aggression in them. Aggression breeds aggression, okay? Be aggressive.
Future policemen will follow this kind of training for 2 weeks, just before starting to patrol in the city.
Nice. Nice! That's what I want! I want you to be aggressive! I want you to be loud! You got it? Decon! No more! I need things loud!
The coach yelling on the video is David Wright, a former policeman, now combat sports instructor. He has trained every policeman in Pittsburgh for the last 15 years. Police overreacting doesn't bother him. Police underreacting is what worries him.
Well, my fear is that they underreact. If an officer underreacts, perhaps fails to recognize that their life is in danger, by the time that they realize this, it could be too late and they could be seriously hurt or killed. We want to put them under stress, yes, but we want them to win. And you know, it's just sort of like a coach on the sidelines yelling and screaming at their players to get moving. At that point in the academy, it's generally to get them going. It's to bring out the best of them.
Shocked by the violence of these videos, we looked for an expert's opinion. Dolores Jones Brown is a professor at the City University of New York and an expert on U.S. police. According to her, this type of training can explain why officers often use excessive force.
It absolutely is indicative of the warrior mindset. Statistically, few people that you encounter are really going to be the kind of serious threat that would warrant that kind of aggressive behavior. And they're actually training the folks just the opposite. Be ready. And unfortunately, it takes human beings to be a police officer. And there are some human beings that will come to the job already with aggression or anger management issues. to train them the way that this training goes, and then to tell that person, now go out on the street and assume anybody you encounter could be a threat. It's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. I think we've got enough incidents now that, particularly based on some video footage like that one of the things that maybe needs to happen is to create some criminal liability for trainers who encourage police officers to behave aggressively in situations where they don't need to be aggressive.
In the U.S., police trainees receive 5 times more training in these fighting techniques than in resolving conflicts without violence. And the most important training is in the use of firearms. The future policemen learn about that at the academy, but not only that, it is the only subject taught continuously throughout their careers. To watch a firearm training, we went to Cedar Grove in New Jersey. Today, as is the case twice a year, these policemen are getting ready to train.
Yes. Pick up trucks. Yes. Why? Your guess is as good as ours. I mean, look at this crew. I mean, would you think that girls be attracted to that?
Despite the laughs, the training is very serious.
Fire.
Last year in the U.S., 127 officers were killed on duty. In a country with 300 million firearms in circulation, the police must not lose focus.
We do the same thing over and over again, so we can do it with our eyes closed probably, because we do it over and over again. We're taught the same way. Our magazines are in the same spot, so we don't have to look. You'll see us, we don't look at our gun or we don't look at our magazines at all. It's all done by memory.
You don't shoot like eyes closed?
No. But you probably could do pretty good because you're so used to having it in the same spot all the time.
They want to get it ingrained in them that it's muscle memory, that they're able to do it without even having to think, and it just becomes like a natural type of thing for you to do.
So it's like a reflex.
Exactly. They're able to respond like that.
In addition to the shooting range, police officers train with the simulator.
Now, just to tell you, my adrenaline is pumping right now, so I'm a little...
For the situations most frequently faced, policemen are trained with toy guns.
You have just arrived at a disturbance call in the parking lot.
This is where they test their skills. Is there danger? Should they pull their gun?
Step out of the car. Let me see your hands. Put your hands on
And when the threat occurs, the reaction is instantaneous. The policeman fires 6 bullets. With such reflexes, the slightest mistake can be fatal.
What if you had put like the driving license in the same way as a gun?
I very well may have shot, and that would have been bad.
Let's not forget.
Very bad. Right?
The officer could have killed an innocent man, and he admits it with a smile, because he might be thinking about an old expression that all U.S. policemen know.
It's better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. Basically, we would rather take the chance of us going home and shooting someone rather than being placed in a casket because we had to second guess.
Which is that the police are not afraid of being sentenced because they are rarely convicted or even charged. The law allows them to shoot as soon as they feel threatened. As soon as a police officer is afraid, he can shoot. But when does fear begin? And the feeling of being threatened? These subjective criteria can legitimize many abuses. In the U.S., there are no official statistics on the number of people killed by the police. The police are not forced to provide this data. So associations compile reports listing the victims case by case. The figures are frightening.
We've been able to find 1,175 people in total who were killed by police in 2014.
And of this amount, 200 victims were not armed. Among them, the most affected are African Americans. They represent only 13% of the population, but compose 50% of the unarmed victims. 2 are shot by the police every week. Today, this statistic scares America. In Pittsburgh, we met a survivor. He almost died under police fire.
So I can see y'all grades.
I'll get my own password.
You ain't got your password.
His name is Leon Ford.
Hey, Dora, come here.
He is 22 years old. We met him on his childhood basketball court.
I thought I graduated. Yeah, I used to play that basketball, football, boxing. I used to do everything. Yeah.
Today, Leon cannot play. He cannot even walk. His life was turned upside down after a traffic stop.
Every time I watch the video, I just go back to the moment. It's like super emotional.
The stop was filmed from the police car, which was equipped with a camera. It was at night in November 2.5 years ago. Initially, it is a routine stop.
It's like one inside Infinity. I gave them my driver's license, my registration, my car insurance. They didn't run my information, but they ran the name L. Ford.
When the police typed L. Ford, the search results displayed a warrant of arrest for Lamont Ford. Lamont Ford is black. He is the same age as Leon and is wanted for drug trafficking. Leon, who was waiting in the car, does not have a criminal record, but the police are convinced that he is the suspect.
Even though it was, I knew there was something strange going on, I tried everything I could possibly try to defuse it. It didn't get diffused. They were very aggressive. They never asked me to get out the car. They told me that they would pull my black ass out the car.
Leon Ford is afraid and he refuses to get out of the car. One of the policemen gets in on the passenger side to force him out.
I was terrified. Like there was no doubt in my mind that they weren't going to kill me. I just knew that they were going to kill me in that moment.
As soon as the car accelerates, the policeman in the car fires 5 bullets. He will later say that he thought that Leon was armed.
They pulled me out the car, told me that they hoped that I would die, for screaming, "Where's the drugs? Where's the guns?" And again, telling me that they would hope I would die.
Leon neither had drugs nor weapons. He is convinced that the police would not have acted the same way with a young white man.
They don't think young black men should have nice cars unless you're unless you're a criminal. Right? So he just criminalized me. He turned me into this criminal because I had a nice car. And there's more good people than criminals, but sometimes they label us all as criminals. The police officers, of course, have power. And some of them get addicted to this power and do bad things to good people.
The Pittsburgh Police Internal Report states that the officer had repeatedly violated the rules. He shouldn't have gotten in the car. Despite this, while in hospital, Leon is told that he could face 20 years in prison for fleeing and putting the lives of policemen in danger. Today, with his family by his side, Leon tries to get back to a normal life. The officer who shot Leon still works in the Pittsburgh Police Department.
He was still working around here. He knocked on her door one day. The same cop that shot my son.
Leon's aunt called the police for another matter. The same officer arrived.
I just couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, it felt like my legs was coming from underneath me. I was just so stunned because I couldn't believe. And I was just scared that, you know, he may do something to me.
And it's another pattern showing that if you want to shoot and kill a black man, join the Pittsburgh police.
In addition to his disability, Leon is now suffering from severe anxiety and depression. He sued the Pittsburgh Police Department. The prosecutor dropped the charges against Leon in order to improve the relationship between the police and the black community, he said. In Pittsburgh, the relationship between the police and the black community is far from being good. It was here in Homewood, an African-American neighborhood, that the police shot Leon. In these disadvantaged districts with high crime rates, the gap between police and citizens is huge. We wanted to talk to people who live here, where police abuses occur the most, a place where people are more afraid of police than of criminals. Faced with this fear, the community gets organized. After school, young black teenagers gather in this community center. They all live in Homewood and are between 10 and 16 years of age.
Glad you guys can make it, man. Are we passing the sign-in sheets around, guys? So we can get started.
Martell Covington, the teacher, is like their big brother. The situation is hard to believe. He is teaching them how to protect themselves from the police.
That's why I told you all, don't sag your pants. Because with that, you're fitting into a stereotype. That's the kind of stuff that can avoid to keep you out of any kind of situation or keep you out of trouble. Or we're not going hard on you just because. We're not. We're doing it because I don't want you to be the next person that we play on YouTube as somebody just got killed by a police officer. Because that can happen. Remember Tamir Rice? Remember we talked about the kid in Cleveland? He's 12 years old.
The dude with the kid with the fake gun?
Yeah. Who's older than 12 in here? Who's 12? Bro. That could have been y'all, man. That could have been either of y'all three. That could have been y'all.
The three teachers are part of an association educating the black youth. They hold this class twice a month.
We're here because we feel a need to educate the young people of our community on things that really matter in their lives or things that can really save their lives.
We see the police behind us. We usually make sure our seatbelts is on. We look straight forward. We know not to turn around. Using proper grammar when they do pull you over. Try to be polite. And no matter what the situation or how you occurs, whatever officer's on duty, how they feel, and basically you just got to go off of just prayers and hoping you can find your way out that situation.
A lot of people look at us as a threat. They think that we're all violent, that we're all criminals and things like that. So just trying to be respectful and carry yourself differently, just so people, unfortunately, will look at you differently if you carry yourself differently.
The young people who listen carefully to the advice are terrified at the thought of meeting the police.
I feel like they're a bigger threat than the people that are around me now.
Do you feel safe when you have the police coming to you?
No.
Why?
Because in the past, so many people have been shot and killed for doing nothing but interactions with the police. I just feel as though, like, no one's safe anymore.
You can see something happening and you're just like, I don't want to call the cops.
Why?
Because, well, let's say it's an incident where it's a fight, it's an assault, you know what I'm saying? Something happens and a group of people are fighting. I would rather for them, either if I can't step in and intercede, let that happen rather than call the cops and then those young black men lose their lives.
If they are so afraid, it is because they are constantly stopped without reason.
Who in this classroom has already been stopped in the streets by the police? Do you remember how many times?
Like 2 or 3.
Why?
Walking with my friends at the park 4 or 5 times.
For which reasons?
Just walking. No, walking with my friends.
Like 5 or 6.
For what?
Walking home around 9 o'clock, just down in Homewood at family's house, just out on the porch. They'll just come and stop me for no reason.
And this story goes on throughout the neighborhood.
Just for nothing, just walking down the street. In my lifetime, I say maybe about like 6 or 7 times.
Soon as I pull off, I'm being followed by the police. I'm at the light, I get pulled over. Why you pull me over? What have I done wrong?
I can't even tell you how many times I've stopped. That's more than I can't even count it.
But you mean like 10, 20?
Maybe 10, 11, 12. I don't count. I don't keep track of it anymore.
In the U.S., the police are allowed to stop any citizen if they suspect any wrongdoing or a criminal threat. According to the officers, this practice is a way to prevent crime. But from Professor Jones-Brown's point of view, it increases the risk of making huge blunders.
The idea was we want to increase the contact between the police and only certain public. You know, not everybody. It's mostly folks in high crime or poor urban communities. Anytime you increase the contact between police and citizens, you increase the likelihood that something can go wrong.
In 2013, in Pittsburgh, half of the time these stops did not lead to any arrests, and blacks, who represent 26% of the population, were stopped in 62% of cases. This practice had its heyday in New York in 2011, where the police recorded nearly 2,000 stops a day. In 9 cases out of 10, they were unjustified. And as always, those who were most targeted were black. The figures are overwhelming, but most policemen refuse to face it. Yet a former officer has agreed to break the silence. His assessment is alarming. The hunt for black people, as he calls it, is part of a racist system that he condemns today. Ray Lewis lives out in the countryside, far from Philadelphia, where he served for 23 years. Now retired, he puts on his uniform to reveal the openly racist practices of his former colleagues. The first thing he denounces is the quota of arrest imposed on U.S. police in many large cities. This race for numbers pushes them to stop black people for no reason.
Quotas lead to arrests for no reason. That is incredibly disgusting. They would take a person's freedom away to meet a quota. Minorities have no one to call if they're wrongly arrested. The white person will call their local political committee man or person. They'll call the parents, perhaps, of a teenager, will call the local politician. Yo, what's going on here? My child was arrested just because he didn't have his license. Why don't you just tell him to go home and get his license? And things like, so the white person has more power. Black people have no connection to the people in power. So you know there's not going to be any blowback on arresting a minority because they don't have any power to complain.
And African Americans are not only unjustly arrested, they are not treated with the same respect as white people are.
If you stop somebody from going through a light, you would say, hey, out of your car. Out of your car. Show me ID. You wouldn't say that. To a white person, you would go up and say, may I see your driver's license, please? And blacks know that. Blacks know when you go up and say, hey, out of your car, now. And then they say, whoa, what did I do? Oh, what did I do? Don't say that. Don't ask me why I'm stopping you. I said get out of the car. And that's right there, your first disrespect. And I saw that happening, and blacks know it's happening. They know it's not happening to white people, so automatically they start resenting the police, just from little verbal commands, let alone the physicality of grabbing somebody and putting them in handcuffs while you check their ID. Unfortunately, when I would tell other officers, whoa, that's enough, then they would think, hey, what are you? N for the word. What are you, an N lover?
N?
N for Nigger.
In front of our camera, that term used between policemen is unpronounceable for Ray Lewis. Since he retired, he campaigns openly against the racist behavior of the police. The former officer has even made a very explicit sign.
I'm asking police, end open season. Stop shooting black men just like they're some kind of animal.
They wouldn't do that with a white?
No.
Why?
They they devalue the black man. The black man is, well, let's put it this way. In driving down a street in Philadelphia on a hot Friday night in August, I was with a partner, and of course, hot August night in Philadelphia, a lot of these people don't have air conditioning, and they're outside. So there's a lot of people outside on the steps in the street, and as we're riding down, my partner says, wow, the roaches are out tonight.
The what?
Roaches, cockroaches. They're bugs that crawl on the floor. They're always like in garbage. It's a very derogatory term, roach. The roaches are out tonight. So if you view people as a roach, as an insect, an undesirable, very undesirable insect, you're going to be able to shoot them much easier than you would a person that you value higher, a white person.
At the time, Ray Lewis did not know how to respond to the violence against black people. He even got carried away by it.
Wanda told me so many people asked her. That was something that I became hardened somewhat to, and I was not an angel. I used a little excessive force, and I slapped somebody when he said something really insulting to me. And after I did that, I realized, wow, I had no right to do that. That was not professional. It not only was not professional, it was not human. About a week later, another incident occurred, and I used more force than I needed. After the guy was handcuffed, I grabbed him, I pushed him up against the wall, and I said, don't you dare say that to me again. Do you understand? And I realized this is a disease I'm starting to develop.
What Ray Lewis is talking about is not specific to Philadelphia police. In March this year, the Department of Justice published an alarming report about the Ferguson police. More than 100 pages show how the police violated the rights of black residents in the city. Racism within the American police has become such a big issue that some police departments have started to address the problem.
Back to school today, and tomorrow and Friday.
For 3 days, these 25 officers will learn how to get rid of their racist prejudices. This optional training is given by 2 former officers. Their mission is a challenge: make these officers understand that they too have prejudices.
What we're going to learn today is it's a possibility that everyone in this room has police in a biased manner, and you don't even know that you've done it. I can tell you the stories you'll hear from me is I have policed in a biased manner. I know that now, didn't realize that 20 or 30 years ago.
This trainer talks about her personal experiences as an example and leads role play. In this first simulation, the suspect is a white woman.
Officers on the beat, reporting party calls, reports there's a woman sitting on the bus stop across the street. He's been robbed several times. He thinks she may have a gun. Units to respond?
The two officers have to stop her.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, officer.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
When suddenly...
Ruga! Oh my God, you have to come. Your husband and your kids were just in an accident over there. You have to come. They're hurt.
We're just trying to talk to her.
Her kids and her husband were in an accident.
No, I know, but I think...
Ruga, come on, you have to. They're bleeding. You have to come. Come on.
I don't know what to do.
In the confusion, the two police officers let her go without even searching
Academy,
her.
right? Have a seat, Don.
Next scenario.
If we were to replay this right now, okay?
This time, the trainer chooses a black suspect.
Brian, what do you think's going to happen? What would happen automatically?
I'm gonna get thrown to the ground.
They're going to stop him. Why?
It's more likely, that he's a person that's gonna have a gun.
What?
And so they're not gonna let him go. I'm talking about their perception of what they see is that. So they're not gonna let him go, give him that latitude they would give to her.
Even black officers get it. The white woman had the weapon, but the police arrested the unarmed black person. The lesson? The police, whatever happens, tend to see black people as criminals. But it is not easy for them to admit that they have racist prejudices.
Well, they'd certainly like to. They're telling me that I do, and I haven't really thought about it, before now. So I don't know that I can accurately answer that question. But maybe in 3 days I'll know the answer.
Do you think that after this training you are going to change the way you are working?
No, because change the way I'm working, no, but I will be more self-aware.
This training is designed to teach us to teach the rest of the police officers in my police department to be more fair, more impartial. And we already are fair and impartial, but to even be more fair and impartial.
The head of this department offers this training after numerous cases of police violence throughout the country.
Shows our community that we're doing everything we can to make sure we're policing in a fair manner. Because it's going to make our job easier, the community is going to trust us more, and everybody wins. So it's a win-win.
The only drawback is the price, $16,000. It is one of the most expensive optional courses. The only case in which it is financed by the Department of Justice is when recent abuses were committed. Few agencies have been trained so far. But since Ferguson, demand is soaring.
I'm booked out until the end of the year, and we're starting to book into 2015. So this is my schedule so far.
The NYPD has asked for the training. It's expected in Pittsburgh this year. But is this the solution? The city of Baltimore started training its police officers against racial prejudice last year. Despite that, a young African American died in April this year. These demonstrations against police brutality and riots that shake the city suddenly reminds America of its past, a past that continues to haunt the country. In the southeast of the United States, 3 hours from Atlanta, America has a rendezvous with its own history. In this former land of slavery, blacks did not have the same rights as whites. 50 years ago, the police were beating up blacks here. 50 years ago, young African Americans would not have had the right to walk on this bridge. A march that changed the destiny of the black community is commemorated today. The fight for black freedom, a fight against racism, for the right to vote like white people. On Sunday, March 7th, 1965, on a bridge in Selma, 600 African Americans demonstrated peacefully to demand their right to vote. The state governor ordered the police to charge the activists. Over 50 people were taken to the hospital. The event became a symbol. Here, 50 years later, the president the crowd is waiting for is black, and it's an historic day. In his speech, Barack Obama makes an analogy between this commemoration and the recent events in the country. He admits that there is still a lot to be done.
Of course, a more common mistake is to suggest that
Ferguson is an isolated incident, that racism is banished, that the work that drew men and women to Selma is now complete. We don't need a Ferguson report to know that's not true. We just need to open our eyes and our ears and our hearts to know that this nation's racial history still casts its long shadow upon us.
On the bridge in Selma, many share the same feeling. Many still have the impression of living in a racist country.
Black people aren't popular anywhere, not in America, not in France. In the United States, it's a little different because we were former slaves. So that mentality is still there. Even though we're not currently slaves, we can still be viewed as slaves sometimes.
On their hoodies, a slogan, "I can't breathe." The last words of Eric Garner, strangled by the NYPD.
Why do you wear this shirt today?
Because we can't breathe either.
Why?
Because we're black.
Eric Garner's mother was also there.
I'm glad to get up here to see this, this historical moment. This is a commemoration, not a celebration. And now we have to go forward with this. We shouldn't stop until everybody gets justice. You know, justice in this city, justice in every city. You know, because what happened on this bridge is similar to what happened to my son. You know, they had no regards for our lives.
Yeah, and you didn't get justice yet.
And we didn't get justice yet, but we're still pushing on. We're going to push on just like we're pushing on here. We're going to push on. You good? I'm good.
Eric Garner's mother will continue to fight in order to sentence the policeman who killed her son. It will not be easy. For Eric Garner's mother, and for all those in Selma today walking on this bridge, is a way to continue the fight for justice and equality. A fight that is still necessary.